Hi guys, it's me, Trudy Lee. How's everybody doing? It is Wednesday, August 21st. Another week and August is done, thank goodness, because it is hot. August is the hottest month of the year and it is going out like a lion. It is supposed to be 107 degrees here in Texas today. Can you all believe that? 107 degrees, yeah. Way too hot. Way too hot to be out. Uh, I was reading a little bit of the news because I'm not really watching much news anymore, but I am watching the convention, the Democratic convention. It's wonderful, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. But I was seeing on the news, I just checked it on my computer, the UPS drivers here in Texas, they don't have air conditioning in their cars. Can you believe it? Not only are they lifting heavy boxes, and running around, they have no air conditioning. And one of the drivers passed out at the wheel from the heat. And in McKinney, Texas, they're having a little protest. And I threw the cards on them, and I know that they're going to start putting AC in the UPS drivers' trucks, especially in the places where it's very hot, where we have extreme heat. They're going to start, providing AC for those drivers, and they should. Unfortunately, we always hear that some babies get left in the cars and they die from heat stroke. A couple of babies have died recently here in Texas from being left in the car. So don't be in a hurry, you guys, especially when you just slow down. Make sure you drop the baby off at daycare, or you took the baby out of the car. Nobody intends to do this. It's so sad and so terrible, but y'all have to be vigilant and make sure that you're you're watching out for your little ones. Another thing that I read about was that there is a nationwide blood shortage because they usually have you know, these drives, these blood drives with their mobile units, and people will come and line up and give blood. But it's been so extremely hot, they've had to cancel them because they don't want people out standing in lines trying to give blood in the heat, and then they'll have a bunch of sick people, and so they can't do it right now, and they really need blood. I'm going to put my microphone a little closer. So if you can donate, please do. It's nationwide. So they are really in a critical state right now. So if you're able to give blood, please do. Another thing I was reading about here in Texas is there's a lot of schools that they've just started, and they have some, cell phone rules going into place. Some are banning phones from school completely. Others have implemented this little program called Yonder Pouch. I don't know if you've seen it. It's pretty cool. We live in Comal County here. They are letting the children bring their phones to school. They're still letting them do that. Of course, they're telling them not to use them in classrooms and stuff, but they're allowed to bring their phones to school. Some are banning them completely, and some are using this Yonder Pouch, and it's really cool. So everybody that has a cell phone has to put their phone in a little pouch, and it has this frequency that locks the pouch while you're at school. So when you're in this phone-free zone, the pouch is locked. As soon as you step away from the zone, you get away from the school, from that frequency, it unlocks. So what do y'all think about that? You think that's a good idea to have those, pouches to lock up the cell phone? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking if there's an emergency and you need to talk to your child, something happens, you can't, they can't open the pouch. They can't get their phone out of the pouch if they needed to call for help or something happened. So, yeah, I just wondered how y'all feel about that and what the schools in your area are doing. I also read yesterday that this former Olympic cyclist, Danielle Chirinos, I think her name, I'm probably saying it wrong, I'm so sorry, that she choked to death alone in her apartment. God bless her and all the people that she loved and that are grieving for her. That is so sad, so sad. You have to be careful if you live alone, how you're eating your food and everything. I mean, everything happens. Maybe this was her exit point. We can't say whether or not, but things happen for a reason. It's not understandable, but hopefully, you know what to do if you're alone and you're choking. I've heard of a lot of people like will go and hit their stomach, like jump towards the bathtub and hit their stomach on the bathtub. I've heard of that happening before. Somebody was choking and they just threw their stomach, on the bathtub, gave themselves a Heimlich maneuver. So, you need to think about that if you're living alone or by yourself. What would you do if you're choking? You have a plan just in case, One time my husband was choking on pizza and I had to give him the Heimlich maneuver. He was really choking. It was scary. It was really scary. And I did it once and he was still choking. And I did it again really hard. I'm like, whoa, we're going to get this. And it flew out of his mouth. So, yeah, anything to stop people from choking, I used to have my middle daughter. She used to choke every time I fed her. She choked. I mean, it was so scary. It was so scary, you guys. I remember one day she was choking in her high chair, and she was a really active little kid. I don't even remember what she was choking on, but she would choke almost every time she ate. She had really big adenoids and very big tonsils, and so she would choke a lot. And I had to always buckle her in her high chair because she could get out and fall down, so I always buckled her in. She started choking and I started panicking, and my husband was in the garage and I took the tray off and I could not get, I was panicking. I couldn't, you know how those belt buckles, I'm old. It wasn't where the little, they buckle in like that. It was the ones where you had to lace it in, and it was a little metal thing and you have to pull it out. And it has little teeth on it. So, oh my God, y'all. I was screaming to the top of my lungs. And my husband came. He had a kitchen knife. And he just cut that. I mean, he barely missed the top of her chin. I am not kidding you. He cut it like this so fast. And I got her out. And of course, she's fine. She was fine, but it was super scary. So just know what you're going to do. We have one of those things that a suction device that you can use to put over somebody's mouth and pull out, something that they're choking on. I choked last night, as a matter of fact. I made Chinese food and I made snow peas, and they're kind of tough. And it was like I had chewed it up, but it was like so stringy. And part of it went down and part of it was still in my mouth. And I was just like, oh my God, I could feel it. I started choking, but I just reached in and pulled it out. So you got to be careful. Got to be really careful. And it's good to have one of those little devices that can suck something out of like a baby's mouth or something. I have one. I haven't used it. It's on the top of my refrigerator if we need it, I need to really look at it and see exactly how it works. I know it's there, but I haven't, really taken it apart or looked at it. But it is there. All right, so got to be careful with choking. So I'm going to talk about all things Texas now. I know y'all probably clicked on this and said, when is she going to talk about Texas? So, Colin Allred is up against Ted Cruz. Colin Allred is a representative, and he is trying to defeat Ted Cruz for the Senate seat from Dallas, Texas, right? And the polls are showing that Ted is ahead. He's still ahead. I don't know how, or I don't know why people in Texas would vote for him, and or they still want him, because I don't like him. Y'all know I'm here in Texas, but I remember when Beto challenged Ted Cruz and he got defeated. But like I said, the polls show that Ted is ahead. And we do have free will to change that, and we can change that. I feel like there's a good chance that Colin Allred can defeat Ted Cruz. But I have so much uh, passion about that it's hard to read on it because I really want it to happen. So I have to be careful when I'm reading on it. But I do feel like he's got a really good chance. I feel like the Harris campaign is going to give him a boost. And he's not listed as a speaker at the convention, but I feel like this is what I got when I was asking about him. He's not a speaker, but I feel like he's there, ready to speak. It's like I don't know, like they're going back and forth. Like they told him he was going to speak, and then they said, "Oh no, you're not going to speak." So I feel like he's ready to speak, but I'm not sure if they're going to have a place for him to speak. Now he can go and speak, like there's a bunch of dinners and breakfasts and things like that, but we want to see him at the convention speaking so that can help him, get a boost that people can see him. I think that's really important that he does that, but I feel like he will get a boost from the Harris campaign. I feel like he's going to get a boost from that. So hopefully the polls will change, and, we'll see that Colin is ahead of Ted, but right now they're saying Ted's ahead. Okay. Did y'all see Jasmine Crockett speak? She is a representative from Dallas. Oh my gosh. When she spoke on the first night, she had everyone crying. Everyone. She was so wonderful. I love watching the convention. I love it. It's so moving. It's so wonderful. And AOC, she was great. I love listening to her speak. She's so smart. She's so beautiful. She has a wonderful voice. She sounds like a little girl speaking. I just love her. She is adorable, but so tenacious, so tenacious. I know that her family is so proud of her. I'm proud of her. And then last night, Kamala's husband, Doug, he told their love story. Did y'all watch that? Oh my gosh, I'm spending so many hours watching the convention. So yesterday, y'all know I do Etsy and I do other things also online. So I tried to work like taking pictures and posting things while I'm listening to the convention at the same time. So I tried to do a little bit of work while I'm listening to the convention, but I have to watch the whole thing. My daughter was telling me that she was watching the convention on the first night, and her husband sat there and watched it with her. I mean, it's hours, y'all. It's hours and hours, but it's worth watching. It's so moving. It's so unifying. It's so good. It's so uplifting. We need it. We really need it. And after the first night, her husband said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that's over." And she's like, "What are you talking about? It's every night till Friday." He's like, "What? What?" She said, "Yeah, we're going to do this again tomorrow night." They usually go to the movies on Tuesdays. Santikos has a special Tuesday nights, $5 movie night. So they usually go there. But she's like, "No, we're not doing that. We are watching the convention." So she's a diehard Democrat too. All right. So like I said, this is Everything Texas. The San Antonio mayor, Ron Nirenberg, he is in his last term. He was a speaker at the DNC breakfast. I was reading about this. And he sent a message to the Republicans, and it was so wonderful. I wish I could have listened to his speech. Maybe you could find it out there. You can probably find it on YouTube. But he said, "The message to the Republicans is clear. Stay out of our bedrooms. Keep your politics out of our exam rooms. Keep your weirdness out of our classrooms. And importantly, keep your clown out of the White House." I love him. He is so good. He is of Filipino descent, and Filipinos are some of the very best people that I've ever met. When I was in the hospital many, many years ago, we have a friend that's married to a Filipino, a couple of friends actually, some female, some male, but we have a lot of interaction with Filipino people. And when I was in the hospital, I had been diagnosed with hepatitis. So I was in isolation. I was very, very sick. You know, if you have hepatitis, you're nauseous. You can't eat anything. You can't drink anything. You have no energy. It was terrible. I had little kids, and they put me in the hospital because I couldn't get well. You know, I couldn't get well because I was taking care of kids all the time, all the time. And back then they were like, you just go to the hospital and rest. You need to rest. So they put me in the hospital just to rest. They don't do that anymore. But that's what they did to me. And I was in isolation. I had a big O sign on my room, you know, hepatitis, isolation. And so the nurses would just kind of peek in. It's not like they were back, you know, now they're doing your blood pressure every so often. They would just look in on me. You okay? Yeah, you all right? Okay. Or they'd bring my tray and run back out, you know. Who could blame them? I'm sure that they had a hepatitis, you know, a vaccine, but still. I had this one Filipino nurse that was so kind and loving to me. She brought me juice every day. She would just keep bringing me juices, and she would say, drink your juice. And she would open it up. She'd put the straw in it, and she would say, you need to drink. You need to stay hydrated. You need to drink. And she would be right there with me, you know, making sure I was drinking everything. She was so kind and so comforting, and I will never forget her. But Mayor Nirenberg, he's been on the campaign trail for Harris for some time now. And I feel like he will be offered a position in her cabinet once she gets elected. You know, and he's a super nice man. He's really, really good. My husband actually has a picture with him. I don't know if I could insert it here or not. You know, I'm very challenged on things, but I'll try to see if I can find the picture and insert it if I can do it. But there was an Iranian event in San Antonio, and the mayor of San Antonio showed up, and my husband got a picture with him. So, yeah, it was really nice. Last night at the DNC roll call, did y'all see that lady from Texas? Her name is Kate Cox, I believe. She was the one that she needed an abortion because if she carried, you know, the baby, she could have lost her ability to have more children, and she needed an abortion. So she had to flee the state, go somewhere else to get an abortion. So she was on there during the roll call, and she announced that she is pregnant again, and the baby will be here before Kamala Harris is sworn in. So yay, yay. The convention is so uplifting. It really is. And then Michelle Obama. Oh my gosh, did y'all watch her speech? She knocked it out of the park. She really did. Everybody loved her. I mean, they were cheering so loudly for her. I think they cheered more for her than anybody so far. She is incredible. And then, of course, President Obama followed her, and everything that they say is so inclusive. It's so uplifting. It's so wonderful. But they did cheer more for Michelle than they did for President Obama. But one of the things that she said that will stick with me is, who's going to tell Trump that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs? I love her. I really do. But I love Obama too. They were so wonderful and uplifting. Of course, Hillary Clinton spoke on the first day, and she was very inspiring too, and people love her. And she looked really, really good. Did y'all notice how good she looked? I don't know what she did, but because I've seen interviews with her that are recent, and she didn't look the same. I mean, they lifted up everything. Her face was lifted up. Her cheekbones were sticking out. She looked good. I can't believe that was just makeup. So I don't know if she had some work done, but she looked really good, really, really good. Um, so tonight, Tim Walz is speaking, Bill Clinton is speaking, Nancy Pelosi is speaking. My evenings are completely devoted to watching the DNC. Um, Now, if you need something, I will do a reading for you. I promise you. If you need a healing, I will do the healing session for you. And I will probably do healing session. I like to do them at nighttime because people are going to bed, they're going to sleep. After the healing session, your body is doing healing in your sleep. So I like to do that right at night, right before I go to bed. So you'll get the most benefit from it. So, yeah. If you need something done, I'm still working, I promise you. So one of the questions that I asked from my guides, will the abortion ban be lifted from Texas? And what I get is yes, it will be, but it'll be after the election. I do think that the Democrats will take the House and the Senate, and that's how we'll be able to get rid of all these, we can codify Roe versus Wade. And yeah, get all these abortion bans lifted. We have the Texas State Fair coming up pretty soon here in Texas. It is September 27th through the 30th. And last year there was a shooting there and 3 people were injured. So the fair has banned fairgoers from carrying the firearms onto the fairgrounds. Like they've banned like knives over 5.5 inches, clubs, explosive devices, ammunition, uh, any chemical dispensing things, pepper spray, bear spray, all that kind of thing. Only officers will be allowed to carry guns and ammunition and spray, pepper spray, and all that. So, and then here comes Ken Paxton. He's trying to undermine public safety and threatening to take legal action if they don't change their policy. Really? Really? But what I'm getting from my guides is that they're not going to change their policy. They have the right to ensure public safety. They have a responsibility to ensure public safety. And I feel like that their policy is not going to change, and you're not going to be able to bring your gun to the fairgrounds. And I think most people don't really want to see guns at fairgrounds. They don't want that. They want to go have a good time and not worry about somebody that's carrying a gun. So let the police officers and trained individuals carry the guns. So yeah, there's that. So that's what I got on Texas today. I hope you guys are doing well, staying in the house, staying out of the hot weather until it passes. Next week, it's supposed to get a little cooler. And when I mean a little cooler, I mean it's going to be 93, 94 instead of 107. So it is going to start tapering down and getting cooler. I cannot wait for the fall. You guys got cool air? Send me some. Send me some cool air. I really, really need it here. We all need it. Send us some rain, too. We need some rain. Every day we're going outside and we hand water. We have a well here, so there's not really a ban on water for us, but we have to, of course, be careful of how much water we're using. And we just hand water. We don't set a sprinkler or anything like that. We'll just hand water. Give everything a little drink so it don't die. And it's supposed to be a really cold, wet winter. My husband said he was looking at the Farmer's Almanac, and they said South Texas is going to have a very cold, wet winter. Y'all know what that means here. I really don't want to go through that either. We don't need extreme weather, extremely cold and wet, or extremely hot and dry. But that's what we're up against right now with, what's going on with this global warming. But yeah, we're going to be prepared. My tree outside there, the fig tree, has grown up so nicely, y'all. It it froze during that first freeze that we had, and it came back, started coming back. The next year it froze again and it died again. And I mean, this tree was the biggest fig tree you've ever seen in your life. It was huge. We were getting so many figs we didn't even know what to do with. We gave them to the neighbors, we gave them away to everybody. Well, it is probably 8 foot tall now, at least, maybe a little taller than that, maybe 9 foot. I have to go measure it. I mean, it's getting full again. It's full of figs, full of figs. And it's not, of course, it's not producing like it used to yet, but it's got tons of figs. Every day my husband's out there watering it and eating figs while he's watering. So I'm like, you're eating. We have a pear tree in the front too, and yesterday he was watering that and eating. He's eating the whole time he's out there watering. The pears are really ripe and juicy now and soft, and they're at a perfect ripeness. So he picked all the pears. We got so many pear trees. The pear tree, it like produces every other year. So next year it probably won't produce very much, but this year it was so full of pears and so heavy that the limbs were breaking. One limb actually broke off. I think a deer tried to grab it and it just came right off because it's just so heavy. So my husband shored it up. He put all these little boards holding it all up so that it wouldn't fall down over the weight of the pears, you know. So we got plenty of pears. We gave some to our granddaughter. She lives in Austin, and she's making pear preserves with it. She's our little domesticated goddess. So she said that she made, I don't know how she made it or how it's going to taste. I'm sure it's going to be good. She made sugar-free for her Bubba. So it's funny, she calls her grandfather Bubba. So she said, Bubba, I made you some sugar-free pear preserves, because she knows, he's a diabetic. So she made it sugar-free. So we'll see how that goes. When she comes home next, she's going to bring it over. So hope maybe this weekend. Anyway, that's what we're doing. It's the end of summer, picking our fruits. We have pomegranates that will probably be ready at the end of October, ready to pick. And we have persimmons and something else. I had to stop and think of it. It's a quince. So we have quince, and we use that in some Iranian cooking. There's this one food that we make that we use quince in. So, yeah, there's that. Because you don't really want to eat it like an apple. They're kind of dry. I don't know. They're different, but they're good when you cook them. So we use these quince to cook, and we'll be giving a whole lot away because we have tons of them. We have more than we can use for sure. And some people, I think they do make a preserve out of the quince also. All right, guys, that's enough out of me. I'm out of here. I am going to go to work. So if you would like to get a reading with me, please let me know. Look down below. If you would like to get a healing session, I'd like to be included, please email me. If you recognize that your chakras are unbalanced, you would like to do a chakra session, I can do that for you. So hit me up, guys. I am ready to work, and I'm going to work today. And like I said, I do my healing sessions at night. I do free healing sessions where I'll include anybody that asks, and I also do a longer healing session and send you a video of everything that I found and what I did, and give you a little information. So I'll follow up the healing session with a video, but of course I do charge for those because it takes a lot longer to do. So if you'd like to do that, let me know, and I'll do it for you. Love you guys so much. Do something kind for somebody. It'll always come back to you. Bye for now.